I think earlier on itself, when the state was getting bifurcated, we realized that the people who were employed, the locals who were employed was less than 10%. And also the industries that were surveyed realized that the people who were there were not meeting up to the expectations of the industry. And that is where TASC was actually created. TASC was created so that equal opportunities can be provided to all youth across Telangana, across the 33 districts. Of course, talking about TASC in brief, I don't know how many of you know about TASC. Can I see a show of hands? Of course, I see a lot of familiar faces. Okay, a lot of people know about TASC, so I'll keep my thing very brief. So far, we have skilled about, we were formed in 2014. Since then, we have skilled close to about 9.5 lakh students, 18,000 plus faculty members. We are industry agnostic. We do training in IT, in logistics, in pharma, in electronics, in civil engineering and mechanical engineering. You name it, we provide skilling on that. And we work in 3 different models. We realized early on, while most of the institutions have their own skilling cells, etc., everyone starts skilling only in the final year. It's more like eating a 500 mg capsule, before you go for your medical test. It doesn't help anyone. And that is the challenge that we realized earlier on. And we said, let's look at a laddered learning approach, because in school also we do that, right? So we said, let's break it down and start from the first year itself. So we do what we call as a DBT model. It's not the direct beneficiary transfer, etc., of the Honorable Prime Minister, but it's domain, behavior, and technology. And that's what we focus on. When we talk about behavior, we also look at it as essential skills which will be required for the future. Technology, just to give an example, what we would do is AutoCAD, if we are teaching AutoCAD in the first year, first semester we permit them to settle in. Second semester we start with beginners level. Second year, first and second semester is user level. And third year is advanced level or professional level. And that's how we have staggered all our content across the years, be it for engineering, be it for the diploma, be it for degree, be it for anything else. Now the best part is, what happens to this is, the people before they pass out of their degree or whatever their educational qualifications are, they are already competent, they are already recruitable by the industry, they are employable. And that is where more than 500 plus organizations advertise their entry-level jobs on the TASC portal itself, which is the government portal, right? And this is a very unique thing, because nowhere else across the country, any institution is actually, patronized by the MNCs and the global companies, etc., etc. Right now also, if you open up my portal, which is tasc.telangana.gov.in, you would see a lot of jobs available for students advertised over there. And that's typically the first model. The second model is, and this is where we work with colleges, over 750 colleges currently are benefiting from the TASC program itself. And these are spread across. And being a very transparent organization, you can actually go and see discipline-wise, district-wise, which are the colleges that are benefiting from our programs. Every year, close to about 30 to 40,000 students become part of TASC and benefit from our programs. Every year, we skill close to 1.5 lakh students on different skills. We work with 80 plus partners offering 110 plus programs in this method. The second method is people who are unemployed or underemployed. We skill them. We have 12 regional centers, apart from the 750 colleges, which are also our centers. So we skill these people who are either underemployed or unemployed and help them get into a particular industry vertical. So that's how we skill them. The third is the most unique model, where we work with a corporate, with an organization itself, and we skill them as per their requirement. We jointly co-create the curriculum, we jointly run the training, and in case I don't have an aircraft engine on my, in my lab, or I don't have an aircraft engine trainer, I would much rather ask an organization like Saffron to actually provide the training. And we jointly work together, and this is a case in point which became quite famous. It was called as Route to Wings. And when Saffron was setting up their aircraft engine manufacturing facilities here in Telangana, they were looking at nautical engineering, only 3 institutions, training on World War II aircraft, etc. I'm sure that happens all across India. We took them to our polytechnics, electrical and mechanical. People who would have become mechanics and electricians in the districts, we went to them. We didn't look at the skills, ladies and gentlemen. We looked at the competencies, right? So it's time we stop discussing about skills. No, we should move on from skills and look at competencies. I think it's prudent for me to also mention over here, iteration rates and why there is an early burnout of people is just because of one thing. We come from a very simple standpoint. If you can't stand the sight of blood, you should not become a doctor or join the defense forces, right? Your areas of interest is what you should choose. So what we did was, we did give them a paper pencil test. It was not a bhed chal, it was not a herd mentality. First skill competency that they were looking was hand dexterity. Second was 3D visualization, spatial thinking, precision, adherence to norms. All these were the competencies that they were looking at. And what we did over there was, we created tests like, we gave them nuts and bolts. How quickly you can fasten them, unfasten them. There was a sheet on which there were multiple pins over there. And they were given discs with similar holes and they had to align it. They were given 3D objects to place. And that is how the model ran. Anyway, enough about TASC. I think if I talk about TASC, I'll already, my time will be over. Probably I'll take 4 or 5 minutes extra. I hope the organizers won't mind that. But I think the topic is very interesting, and as the editor said, Suchetna Ray said that, COVID, in fact, it was a music to our ears. I've been in the field of online education for 2.5 decades. I don't know how many of you know, there was this virtual university called U21 Global, which was set up by some of the topmost universities in the world: Virginia, Nottingham, Birmingham, Melbourne, Shanghai Jiaoting, Waseda University, Japan, Delhi University, etc., etc. And I used to be part of that virtual university for about a decade. Now, the best thing which can happen to any learner, and as you rightly said, if I go 7 years back, I still remember I had gone to one of my friend's house, and the friend was busy with me, wife was busy cooking, and the boy had to write an essay on Tenali Rama, right? So what he did was very simple. 7 years ago, ChatGPT was not there. So it started, the company was there, but not in the current shape and form. So he went to Alexa and said, Alexa, tell me about Tenali Rama, right? And that's technology for you and what students can do with it. As Alexa kept on talking about Tenali Rama, this boy quietly sat down and started writing. His project report was done, right? Now this is the basic example of how education can change, right? One thing which COVID definitely did do, and that was the biggest change, is the complete thing moved from a sage on stage, right, a guru giving gyan to people, to what we used to call at U21 Global way back in 2005 also as a guide on the side, right? So teachers, instead of remaining teachers, they started becoming facilitators. The faculty members, in fact, I really commend them and kudos to them. The way they changed with technology, understood the power of technology, that how you can actually talk about application of things using technology while you don't have to spend time in mundane definitions. In my 37 years of experience, I don't think anyone has ever asked me a definition. I'm pretty sure in your cases also it will be very, very similar, right? And our problem is while we are kids, as parents we say, eat this is good for you. You go to school, the first thing the teacher in school says, learn this by heart, tomorrow there's a recitation test. You come to college, leave this question, this is not important, it has come last year, concentrate on this is important from an examination point of view, right? When he comes for a job, think out of the box, think for yourself. We have never taught him to think. And that is where today, if you look at it, he is rushing towards ChatGPT because he is not thinking. He just wants to learn by rote things that are available there. U21 Global had multiple things, and one of the things that I'd like to talk about, since we spoke about plagiarism. Plagiarism in India is what we call as cut, copy, paste, right? So that's always there. In most of the places, we don't give too much attention to it. And anyway, what happens is, in 2005 also we used to have this product called as Turn It In, right? Where you could give all the answers that the students had given, and it would tell you how much of it had been plagiarized and where it had been picked up from. And that was 1.5 decades ago, so now things have changed. And the best part is, if ChatGPT can tell you the answer, it can also tell you from where it has been picked up. So if you give that entire thing and say, tell me the source of this, automatically using reverse engineering, it will do that. But I think what is more important for us to understand is, and we can debate till the cows go home on ChatGPT and others, but I think where I would like to talk about technology and education is in the entire value chain itself. First thing is, I think we should realize the fact that 50% of our students in colleges, their parents haven't been to one. So they are first generation learners, right? Today, everyone is following a herd mentality. Neighbor's son has taken IT, so I'll also take IT. Whether I have the competence, whether I have the acumen, we don't bother about it. So the first thing that technology should play a key part is in an assessment of the psychometric skills, the adaptive skills, etc., of the participant itself, of the student itself. What is a good career for him or her? Just to give you an example, as I'm also part of I wear a small hat, very small one, which is as the Skill Task Force member for AVGC, for Government of India. And there what we have done is we have actually recommended the government to start with a junior NECAT exam in the 6th grade, where we will check if they have got creativity, and then we will guide them accordingly. Today what is happening is the person does his BTech and says, no, I should have gone into gaming. Gaming is interesting for me. I've got aptitude for it, I should go for gaming. And that is where the difference is. I think it's better to decide earlier on how and what should be done. I'm not saying that 6th class onwards they will become animators. No, but then guide them in that direction so that they move in that direction. I hope I'm going to get my 4 minutes plus, right? Just 30 seconds as per this, so I need more time. The second thing is, I think it's very important to have age-appropriate learning, right? As content, sometimes what I have seen is some e-learning companies just scan a textbook or convert it into something and put it over there. Content should be, it has to be contextualized first, right? It should be available in languages which students can understand, right? For example, if you look at Telangana, we don't have the Thomas Hardy's or the Charles Dickens's English in the college curriculum. It's all business communication English, right? So similarly, You must have content which is relevant, and of course it should cater to your learning styles and moods, right? Let me just, and follow the principles of what we call as instructional design engineering. For example, let me just throw a question over here. If you have to explain to a 5-year-old kid profit and loss, how will you do it? Anyone? Anyone, please? Yes, ma'am. Chocolates, excellent. 90% of people would say, explain it to them with chocolates. Anyone who's different? Anyone? Animation of what? Okay, cartoon characters, good. So what I would do using the instructional design engineering principle is use a concept of a beam balance. If your sale price is high, cost price will be low. It's a profit. If your sale price is low, cost price is high, loss. Otherwise both are equal. Correct? Even if a child sees this once, it is ingrained in his mind. He will not know profit loss, but he will realize what it is. Right? And that is why people, and this is my humble submission to all people who are into creating technology for education over here, is please understand which kind of thing, right? I'm sure if I ask one of you that when you were growing up, can you how many radio jingle of that time, you'll be able to do it, correct? Because all those nirmas, etc., they are there, correct? And that is what is important. We need to understand how does a person learn and ensure that there are multiple methods by which a person can learn the same concept itself. So content has to be not only conceptualized, it should be vernacular also so that it's easy to understand. And it also has to be something that he should be able to choose. He wants to go through a case study, so be it. He wants to see an animation, as Madam said over there, definitely. Experiential learning has to be brought in. And that is where our faculty members as facilitators can say, this is a good video, please go and see that. Next, content has to be bite-sized. It cannot be 4 hours, 5 hours of videos, because ASTD estimate says you can hold attention maximum for 7 minutes. Unless until you are Hitler, and then you can, do that. But that's typically what it is. So you have to ensure that you're able to hold the attention. So it has to be very, very interactive. It has to be fast to download, easy to understand. So imagine the complexities that are coming up. Moving to the next one is, of course, adaptive learning. I think the biggest benefit of technology in education is democratizing education. It is only, in a classroom, it is the front row benchers who get the chance to answer and everything else. But over here, with technology, everyone has an equal share of voice. And that becomes the most crucial thing. You need to understand while the person is doing the assignments, while the person is doing things, you need to understand what he is comfortable with, what he needs reinforcement on. And that is where adaptive learning becomes very important, where the pace of learning can automatically either be accelerated if someone is a fast learner, or decelerated in case someone is learning slowly. And give more inputs to the slow learner so that, and that too very concise, more example oriented. Right? Our biggest problem today is in our institutions, and with due respects to, I know it's an August gathering of all vice chancellors, a couple of my friends over here also, but the fact today is our institutions are still teaching syntax and languages, and I'm talking about IT especially. We are not concentrating on either the basics or the fundamentals, which is the big lacuna. I think if we are able to focus on that, which is further enhanced with technology, and technology also gives you another big advantage because now you have collaborative learning. People say, when you are working face to face, it is better because you can collaborate. I'm sorry, you can also collaborate in a virtual world. We used to, as U21 Global, have 30 people in a batch, and this used to be an adult learning. So there was 300 years of minimum experience in that group. Now, how do you use that experience was only through peer learning. Collaborative peer learning is what is important over here also. Be it projects that the students are doing or be it just writing reports or whatever else. So I think that is the important thing. And of course, when we talk about all this, now you have learned, how should you be assessed? Should it be a summative learning or should it be a formative learning? Right? And that is where, for online, I would like to recommend what we used to call in those days also, authentic assessments. Right? Plagiarism, etc., would not be a problem at all over there. Do people get recruited to know the definition of a screwdriver? Or do they get recruited if they know how to use one? And that is where the basic difference comes. You need to check how a person is applying what he has learned. Just to give you a very, very fundamental example from my U21 Global days. 2000, I think it was 8 or I forget the year, but I think the Commonwealth Games happened in Delhi, right? Our project management students got a question which said, tomorrow morning 10 o'clock you have a meeting with the Prime Minister where you need to talk about lack of applying project management principles, how it has affected the the infrastructure that has been created for Commonwealth Games. Right? What can you learn over here? You can't. And it's, by the way, what we used to call as an OBO exam. Open book, open web. Right? Today, maybe everything is available on ChatGPT. Then why do you want to restrict people by saying, no, you can't do anything? You can't see the net, etc. I think what is important is people should be able to apply what they have learned. And because you are talking to the Prime Minister, of course, you can't write 10,000 pages, 1,000 words, right? And you get 24 hours to do it. Anyone who has not paid attention to the class, and I'm sure all of the honorable faculty members and vice chancellors and professors would agree with me, no one can solve it unless and until they have actually done it. The last thing is, I think we always put on our students a fear of performance. Instead, if we change it to a celebration of learning, I think we would have much better output from our students. What do I mean by that is, yes, examination is there, but you're not forcing him to mug up. You're asking him to apply what he has learned. And that is what is a celebration of learning. Proving what he knows, not proving what he doesn't know. Right? I think on that note, I would also like to talk about various technologies today. Automatic attendance systems are there. There could be a camera in the room which actually takes a video of all the people over here and does facial recognition and marks the attendance, etc. And a whole lot of technologies are coming up. One thing which we also spoke about in the beginning itself, and I would like to refer to it over here, is I think ChatGPT, AI, etc. Please understand it is here to stay. Right? Today it's Python, tomorrow it will be Cobra, day after tomorrow it will be something else. Right? We don't know what the future is. And we are preparing our students when he enters the first year of college 60% of the jobs that exist today will no longer be existing when he passes out after 4 years, right? And we have to prepare him for the future. So what do we prepare him on is what we need to understand. So technology, AI, ML, application of it, definitely a must, right? All kinds of technology. So that is point number one. Point number two is use all these technologies not as a hype. I've had people who come to me and say, oh, we will ensure that your students get selected, automatically your selection percentage will go 100% up. I said, how would you do that? He said, no, what we'll do is, if it's a data administrator's job, we will look at the key functionalities that are required for that job, and we will create the student's CV using those keywords. And I said, fantastic. And who would then get the job? ChatGPT or the student, right? So we have to be very cautious as to where we are using all these technologies. We should be using where we have got efficiency, right? Where it is actually doing, the quality of doing that work is more accurate. And of course, in cases where it is hazardous or problematic for people. So my to chat with anyone post the session. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.